The entire history of ideas, all the ideas that we have access to, our knowledge about the world, defines the parameters under which we all act in a rational way. Of course, all of us also act in an irrational way, and societies act in an irrational way, but there's nothing rational we can do about irrationality. Our ability as rational actors to shape our destiny is limited to our rational actions, and our rational reactions are based on what we know about the world. So in order to make our rational actions as humane as possible, we need the greatest source of input to our decision-making processes, individually and as a society and as a global civilization. There are three types of history. By history, I mean something that is not 2,000 years old. By history, I mean all that we know, including the history of last week. Number one, history, which has an ongoing industrial subsidy, that is how to make concrete, how to make windows, how to make pumps, etc. That seems to be dry and boring to most people, but is actually the most important information in the world. That is how to harvest a crop, how to make metal, and so on. Now, there's the second type of history, which does not have a curator, but is not under threat. So that is the information that has been produced by industrial bases that are no longer profitable. So those include the books that have gone out of print, for example. Then there is the third type of history, that as an intellectual knowledge that I am the most interested in because it does not have existing support. And neither have we ever had this branch of history to any significant degree. That is the information about how human institutions actually behave. Institutions, in order to increase their industrial power and stop themselves being predictable, have tried to keep that branch of history obscure. When someone goes about obtaining part of it, some classified document, for example, or a document about corporate strategy, or whole emails of Enron or something, and try to bring them into the light, processes start to suppress that information and remove it from our shared knowledge of the world. So this particular branch is interesting to me, and the other two we already have. This one we do not have. And when we look at all the political theories about how the world should be or should not be, and what action should be taken or should not be taken to push the world in one direction or another, we should ask, under what information are these political theories based on? Looking at it from perspective of an institution, all institutions, all are engaged in unjust activities. Some obviously greatly exceed that of others. So when trying to find the information that will likely lead to a state of enhanced justice, we look for that information which the institution does not want released. Because that is a signal that the information can do something if it is released. And that's why I have always said that censorship, while it is something to be condemned, it is also an optimistic signal. It is always an opportunity, because censorship reveals the fear of reform by knowledge. That is, if knowledge can be drawn out, then some action will take place which will result in some kind of reform.